Chainsaw Man, Look Back, Fire Punch, Tatsuki Fujimoto is an odd guy. And I don't mean the popular girl.
Oh my gosh, I am such a weirdo. I do the nerdiest things like watch Naruto.
I mean, this guy is odd. He tried to levitate on camera. He made a Twitter account pretending to be his little sister who doesn't exist. And one of his hit manga contains incest and cannibalism. But wait. Please don't click off yet. Because just like those popular girls who mistake quirkiness for a character trait, a lot of people have mistaken Tatsuki and his works for the weirdness of both. His oddness is needed to tell stories like this. Maybe not the imaginary little sister, but only a mind unafraid of breaking convention can show us parallels about love, trauma, and youth through a bomb devil. It's crazy seeing the success of this film because not long ago, this story was taken as gooner bait, at least from the people I've talked to. Like when I would tell people I looked forward to the movie, they looked at me like this. It's a good movie, and I wanted to see the femboy in lingerie. The story of Chainsaw Man at surface level seems like a degenerate teenager who wants to touch some yiddies. And while that isn't far from the truth, that's like saying the Avengers is about a purple guy who wants to farm. It's true, but it's reductive. Denji's story is a lot more complex than his degeneracy. It's derived from a place of belonging, a false illusion of unconditional love. The rise of Tatsuki happened in a pretty unconventional way, and I highly recommend anyone who wants to know to check out Alex's video on it. And Alex touches upon something that Tatsuki has something special and very human when it comes to writing his stories, and I think that's the most obvious in this film. To tell a story this brutally honest about youth, trauma, and love, you need to shatter the normal narrative convention. A typical shonen or slice of life framework would just crumble under the weight of these themes. And if you want a normal setting with Tatsuki level writing, just go watch Look Back. I already made a video on how good it was, but this is focused on Chainsaw Man and its bizarre worlds. A world where fear is currency and devils embody concepts. It's the only container that's strong enough to hold this messy truth. The weirdness is not just for show, it's the foundation. Is all of it necessary? Probably not, but what better way to convey the self-destructive nature of first love after trauma except by having the love interest transform into a bomb devil? Oh, you wanted a normal romance where he goes on a healing journey? Man, fuck that! The moment of greatest intimacy becomes the moment of literal detonation. This framework ensures that the concepts of loneliness, attachment, and betrayal are not handled with cheap melodrama, but with hyper-specific, inescapable brutality. Denji's life is defined by the absurd, and it takes an equally absurd narrative style to reflect that. What I'm trying to say is the femboy in lingerie was necessary. A lot of people's misunderstanding about Denji and his story lies in their inability to understand the why. Why is Denji so desperate for a normal life? Why is he so obsessed with any woman who shows him the littlest amount of kindness? But before I attempt to explain it, just watch this clip from one of my favorite recent anime.
居場所ってそんなに大事なんか？
人は自分に足りんかったもんに卑しくなる。満足に食えんかったやつは食に卑しく、愛に飢えたやつは過度に愛されたがる。居場所に執着するやつは居場所がなかったんやろな。
Denji's desires come from a lack of. Most people dream about being rich or famous, but Denji wants food, sleep, and a girl that doesn't try to kill him. The driving force behind his basic wants are profoundly human. His goal is to prove that he is a person, not a disposable tool. Yet before and after becoming a chainsaw man, that's all he was ever treated as. Shonen protags are usually shown through what they have, and their heroic ability to overcome the dread that comes with being human, the indomitable human spirit. Whether it's the big three or slice of life leads, the common structure is struggle, overcome struggle, become a better person. And Chainsaw Man is like those three except just the first one. Shonen literally means boy or youth. It's a category that is typically aimed at young male audiences, or at least once was. But what better way is there to teach young men than tell them that they can persevere? And I'm not saying that these shonen don't have adult themes. In fact, most of them do. But my point is that same path is usually taken when it comes to the protagonist, to show the strength of these heroes through what they have. But Denji's depth is found in his lack of a stable true self, his lack of a normal childhood, his lack of awareness in the world that he lives in. He tries on personalities, the hero, the student, the romantic lead, but none stick. The pursuit of a haven of unconditional acceptance is what every manipulator in his life exploits. Every relationship is a cruel test of his belief that this time he will be accepted for who he is, not what he can be used for. And that's exactly why it's frustrating. Seeing him bark like a dog and thinking this random fine shit wants him is insane. But how is he supposed to know any better with the life that he's lived? You have to have some sympathy for a guy that just wants to be wanted and touch some melons. Like, that's some real shit. But the world of Chainsaw Man is governed by a single law. Devils are born from the fear of their concept. This makes the world fundamentally based on fear. What generates power in this world? The fear of bombs, the fear of darkness, and the fear of guns.
What about the devil born from love?
Yeah, that doesn't exist. There is no love devil, because love does not generate fear. Unless you watch La La Land or Past Lives, that generated a lot of fear in me. But that aside, the reality is not only present in the main dynamic of this film, but mirrored in the subplot of Aki and the Angel Devil. Angel is a gentle devil whose power causes death through touch, while Aki, who's already living on borrowed time, is too scared to allow closeness. The cosmic architecture of their world is designed to isolate, not unify. It proves that fear truly rules this hellscape. And if we pause and look at our own world, this concept has some familiarity. Why do most of the worst human atrocities occur? It's often due to fear. The fear of the unknown sparks military action, political violence, and social collapse. Fujimoto isn't just showing us a devil world where fear is power, he's reflecting our own through a 16-year-old degenerate. And he shows us how easily love gets twisted, manipulated, and in a way that is so frustrating but almost unavoidable. Reze is introduced as the antidote to Makima's cold, shadowy presence. Her character design and movement tell the story of a highly trained weapon. Something as slight as the way she walks out of sight shows her rigorous Soviet training. I mean, look at that move, gentlemen. That is an expert spy right there. But while she's playing Denji for a fool, her facade only works because her lies are not completely untrue. She resonates with Denji's hidden pain, even if she doesn't realize it till the end. She never went to school either. Denji never learned what a relationship actually is, nor what it could be. His view of being with the girl is sadly that childlike view. And once again, this is where people mistake him. Yes, he wants to be the knight in shining armor who's loved by a needy, caged princess. A way that you shouldn't look at women in general, but that's the point. I mean, nothing was more telling than Tatsuki's misdirection with Reze being chased by some crazy dude that was plotting to kill her. I mean, how many times have y'all seen that in films? The dead wife trope, the man who's gotta get revenge now? Reze was specifically trained to weaponize that ideal, and that is Tatsuki laying it bare that most people who think like this don't understand the reality of the world. And despite their clear differences and wide gap of intelligence, they also share something that most don't. They are two monsters. Her lie only works because the pain that informs it is real. The moment she shares that simple happiness with Denji, the assassin momentarily becomes what she was never able to, a vulnerable little girl. The night at the school pool is the arc's animated centerpiece of innocent intimacy. Something that could have been painted through sexual desires was playfully pure. The dark blue of the pool water and the neon glow reflecting off the tile created a beautiful, isolated space. Once again, a scene that could have been overly sexual was actually pretty funny. Like, there's no way y'all weren't laughing when Denji was debating taking his clothes off and then it just cuts to bro with nothing on. To be honest, on a first watch, that's what this scene felt like. A fun, playful moment before the ultimate twist. But on a second watch, knowing what this scene meant helped me realize why such a powerful score was used. When Reze sheds her clothes and dives in, the animation emphasizes her freedom and vulnerability. The end of the film teaches us that water was her weakness. She couldn't detonate a bomb in there. But you wouldn't be able to tell that during these scenes. She was able to momentarily cast off the rigid form of the assassin. As Kensuke Ushio's soundtrack rose, the two found a time of joy in this chaotic world, a time to be kids in a world that never lets them. Whether Reze knew it or not, she was experiencing the warmth of connection, that same connection she was supposed to be faking. It's her humanity that bleeds through and ultimately what signs her death warrant. Makima reminded us that whether they wanted to be a city mouse or a country mouse, they are both factory mice. They were bred, molded, and perpetually confined to their roles as weapons. Their only option was to choose which glass cage to look out from. Their escape is a fantasy because the only world they know and the only role they were ever given is that of a tool. And once a tool has no more use, it's expendable. Now, this film excels in basically two different mediums. The first half is a slice of life that we all want to exist in. Yes, we. And the second half is one that we certainly do not want to. The fireworks scene marks the terrifying shift in pacing and visual tone. The vibrant colors of the fireworks were immediately replaced by the gruesome rapid-fire brutality of the attack. The kiss and bite was animated beautifully. You know, Tatsuki, I've never been afraid of a tongue kiss until now, so thanks for that. The movie goes from a peaceful rom-com to straight up war. It immediately has fast-paced fighting with some of the best visuals I've ever seen. Whether it was the scene of Aki using the sword, the chase scene in the blood of Typhoon, or Beam just being the GOAT for 40 minutes, there are endless scenes I can gush over. But if I do, the video would be like 6 to 7 hours, so rather I want to talk about the closing of the arc. Denji's choice to spare Reze. I was upset when it first happened. I mean, did you see what she did to the Fox Devil dudes? Like, he was supposed to go to a singles mixer. Why did they animate his sword so well? But thinking back on it, I realized it was his first unintentionally mature decision. He didn't really know what he was doing. And he literally says he's okay with being killed by a beautiful woman. The bro is whipped. But there's a deeper connection between them. Their shared trauma has made them both monsters, forever denied a normal human existence. And that's what Denji gave her a chance for. By offering her a chance to run, he validated the shared truth of their victimhood, that they are both weapons. But perhaps given the chance, they could be something else. In a way, he moves past the fantasy of the innocent girlfriend and instead pursues a shared truth, a relationship built on the mutual understanding that they are two broken people, willing to try to live in a universe that fundamentally doesn't allow it. Makima, man. And speaking of the devil, when Denji goes to see the movies with Makima, she says that for every 10 movies they see, there's one that really sticks. And I couldn't stop thinking of it. Not only is it extremely meta to say that and set a bar for the film that it actually meets, in his actual non-cinematic life, Denji found the one person who finally connected with him. The 1 in 10 who made him feel real. And that one person was the one who had to kill him. Again, she did terrible things, but also wanted a chance at a normal life with Denji. Shown by Reze walking back towards the cafe at the end, and then Makima appears. The arc closes and the post-credit scene plays with Denji holding a bouquet of flowers, the symbol of hope, and then he eats them. As playful as the scene is, once again, Tatsuki proves that nothing is done without purpose. The remnants of his first love is literally ingested and discarded, a metaphor for his regression to survival mode. He never gets closure. The visual proof of Reze being taken away is denied to him. All he knows is that she left him waiting. This lack of knowledge, coupled with the brutal kiss, reinforces the lie that he is unlovable, a lie that he will constantly chase, and precisely the mental state that Makima requires. The Bomb Devil arc stripped away Denji's potential for happiness, leaving him more complex, more scarred, and visually confirming that in this animated world there is no room for love, just fear. And that the femboy in lingerie was necessary. Look, I don't make the rules. Abysmal dog shit. That meme has been killing me, but what a freaking movie, man. I mean, I went to see it twice in the same week. You know how crazy that is? I'm broke. I could barely afford one ticket, but I had to go twice. And not only did I want to see it twice myself, but it was so good that I wanted the two different groups of people that asked me to go, because I knew some of them wouldn't go if I didn't. And it was so worth seeing twice. And it hit even harder on the second time around, which I talked about in this video. But there's so many things I didn't pick up on because I'm not a manga reader, so I didn't know ahead of time how symbolic the pool scene was. And not just the pool scene, but almost every little scene can be nitpicked into this symbolic detail that at this point I'm convinced that Tatsuki is actually a genius, but just covering it up with all his weirdness. And speaking of his weirdness, like, I'm so glad that a lot of people are finally over just ending it there when it comes to Tatsuki. And I've even had comments on a TikTok I made about the movie where they were saying, oh, you support somebody who sexualizes children. This is what I have to say when it comes to Chainsaw Man. I haven't read Fire Punch, so I can't speak for that, but at least in Chainsaw Man, if that was the case, I wouldn't have got past season 1. And I'm not just saying that to say it, I mean it. I mean, I vocally have issues with Mushoku Tensei, and I know people love it out there. I also get that's the point of it. That's another conversation. But Chainsaw Man, it is very clearly the point to show Denji's version of this sexualized world. Is every scene, is every image necessary? All jokes aside, no, it's really not. But a lot of the times it is shown to show how Denji views the world and how he's so easily manipulated. And a lot of you already get that, so I don't need to explain it. But for those of you who don't, like those of you that think he's over sexualizing it, I can't agree there. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe something will come out someday like it does about every other artist, but it is not present in my opinion when it comes to Tatsuki. He is such a talented writer, and the risk he takes that I think he understands is people might miss the point of a frustrating main character. People might look at Denji and think he's just straight up a gooner, and in a way he kind of is, but the point is that's such a reductive term for who Denji is as a character and how he ended up that way. It's not just his childhood. It's not just the manipulators that end up around him. It's not just the way the world is built. It's all of those things combined. And again, I don't think Tatsuki would blame people for misunderstanding his story because he knows that that's the risk he's taking by introducing a lot of weirdness in it and introducing a character that falls for any woman he meets. But yeah, that wraps up what I wanted to say on top of that, because honestly, I could speak about this film for hours, but I won't hold you guys too long. I've been watching a lot of anime. I've been catching up with My Hero. Been really good, honestly, the final season. And One Punch Man, so far, it's very, very unfortunate. It's kind of sad again. Tortero like always tells me about One Punch Man season 3 in the comments, and it's not off to a great start, but I still have some hope. You know, we haven't got into like the meat, I think, yet of the story. That's pretty much all I've been watching. If you guys have any recommendations for any other anime I should pick up, and I think that covers everything. I'm really proud of this video. I usually say how I feel about my videos, honestly, and this is one I worked really hard on. It's actually the longest video I think I've made yet. I mean, it definitely is because it's 15 minutes without the intro. Usually my intro takes up the whole video. Like I think last video I made, it was like half of the video itself. But this one I worked really hard on because not only am I trying to improve my videos as they go on, this was something that I really enjoyed. Like I told you, I went to see it twice in 1 week. It was an unreal experience, and it will go down easily as one of my favorite films. I obviously have bias, not just because it's recency, but Tatsuki as a writer is one of my favorites, and he's a clear film buff. Like if you watch this movie and the references he makes and the quotes, like seeing one good one for every 10 movies, only real film nerds would know that. So Tatsuki is obviously a film buff, and that just makes me an even bigger fan. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see in the future, and I might see you in the next one.
Man, fuck that.